This is why we don't have two hosts on a podcast.
This is perfect.
Okay.
Okay,
New
ready.
intro. Welcome to Beyond the Weekend, everybody. I'm your host, Amy. We've got Matt Nissen from Battleground. We've got John McLeod, the brand new Battleground campus pastor. And already we've had to restart it 3 times because
That's right.
it probably will be the last time Matt Nissen and I
Battleground way.
are invited on the podcast at the same time. We also have Paul, who's
Hello.
laughing nervously because he's got to edit this afterwards.
Yeah, it's great. Hello.
And we really are. It's the Battleground takeover. It wasn't totally intentional as far as me being the host, but it was very intentional to have John here and Matt.
Yeah, I'm here for some reason.
Matt's
That's
here.
not. This is not clear yet.
It will become
It
clear.
will become clear.
I'm John's handler, actually. So if you have anything
He's
you want to
here
ask him,
to keep John on the.
it's going to go through me.
Yes. Also, John's getting adjusted as I had to do and probably have not done yet to these crazy headphones. John.
They're not crazy headphones.
Yeah, they're normal headphones.
Amy
Let's get
doesn't
John's
like the
take on the headphones.
Yeah,
John?
John, what do you think of the headphones?
They're all right.
There we go. That's exactly what I was going for, John.
I asked Paul to put a little background music in mine, so I have just a different mix
Hey,
than you guys.
let's
so
just
it's
full disclosure here. Nissen asked him to turn my voice down in his ear
Yeah.
like a true worship guy.
I'm not going to lie, it's still a little loud.
It's a little
No, it's fine.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
yes. The worship guy complaining about the mix in his ears.
Yes. All right.
Classic.
So I'm just orienting everybody here. We're Sunday afternoon. John, this is your second Sunday here with us.
Mm-hmm.
You were where were you at today?
I was at East.
Okay, East Vancouver with JP.
Yep.
Cool. And were you up front out there or just in the lobby?
He had me everywhere.
Okay.
Upstairs, downstairs,
He
all
was
the
in the band?
closets.
The
Yeah.
band.
No, John wouldn't let me in the band.
John Warren wouldn't let you in
yeah.
the band. Okay.
I did have a mic though. Yeah, I was just shadowing JP, just hanging out. Yeah, it was great. It was
Good.
actually really nice.
Did you see what I mean about the East building? Like,
Oh, yeah.
compared to the Battleground
How
campus?
it's a twin. Hey, by the way,
It's
let's
like-
just, while we're talking about twinning here, John and I are
Yeah.
twinning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not watching, we got matching New Heights sweatshirts on.
I don't have one.
And me and Nissen are
Well,
twinning.
You know?
Oh, good.
Are you, well, no one will know because no one
Allegedly.
can see Paul. Yes. Okay, so the East Vancouver, you were telling John about the buildings, how they're.
Yeah, it's just, they're very similar. So, like, when you walk in there, like, if you're at Battleground all the time, when you walk into the East building, you're like, this is familiar and yet not.
Yeah.
And a little bit different.
You
It's
know,
very-
because I'm not at either building very often, I sometimes forget which building I'm in.
yeah, that's
Because
fair.
especially when you have to do like the tech rounds where you got to go to East and then go to Battleground and then go to West. Sometimes I forget where I'm at.
Well, and now that it's painted, they were painted similar colors. East used to
yeah.
be more like orangish.
Yeah, it used to be a different color.
Oh, it
and then it
was
would feel extra weird.
Smoky
Okay.
topaz.
I guess
That
now
was
it's the same
name.
color, so it
That's
probably
the
feels the
technical
same.
term.
That
The
was,
color
yeah.
was smoky topaz.
Yes.
Wow.
Is it really?
We're now on Amazing
Yeah.
Gray. We like to go with some Christian things. We have Rapture Blue, Amazing Gray. I think there's another one like this. I'll have to think of it.
Angelic white.
Something like that. Yes, let's
Angelic
just go with
light.
that.
Huh.
Anyway, daylight savings, guys, ended.
It did.
It
Ended
did.
or begun?
I
I'm
don't
really
know.
confused.
No, it ended. It ended. We ended, and I just would like to know, how did you all sleep?
Really great.
Did you
Yeah.
enjoy the extra hour? Did you take it, or did you?
I actually
adjust
did.
for it ahead of time?
I went to sleep at a reasonable time because
Yeah.
usually what I will do is I'll be
Yes.
like, I have an extra hour of sleep. I'm going to stay up an extra hour and then maybe another hour on top of that, just because to celebrate,
Mm-hmm.
the end of daylight savings. But I got a good amount of sleep.
Okay, John, how was it for the McLeod family?
Yeah, not as good. That was another member of my household's call, though. That
Okay,
was
of
just-
how this
that was
works.
completely unrelated to the time change
Yes.
and all that.
Well, you've got a 3-year-old
yeah.
and a 1-year-old, which we'll get to
Yeah.
all this. But
Yeah.
I heard earlier this week you were telling me about your 3-year-old who's sleeping on a top bunk right now,
Yeah.
Ellis,
Yes.
and he's not a fan of getting down of the top bunk.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he hollers for you.
Yeah. At like increasing volumes every time. It's Alexa explained it phenomenally. It's like a ringtone or an alarm that you set, like it progressively gets louder. He does that to us.
That's
so
so funny.
You might want to think about installing a slide and then you can just,
Yeah,
just
you
get out
know.
real
Jet
easily.
down. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad
They
idea.
sell them like that, huh?
That's
Yeah,
fun.
I think they do.
Yeah.
If not, they should. You can build your own.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Paul,
Well,
Keith household, how'd you guys fare?
it was great because I woke up before the kids usually wake up, so therefore
Okay.
it was an extra hour
Nice.
on Sundays. That's usually how it goes down. So it was great.
Okay.
I'm confused about daylight savings. Is this the normal time now? This is what we
Yeah,
would
this
get.
is the
normal
regular time.
This is how
Which
it
is
should
why,
be.
like, because people talk about getting rid of.
Yeah, getting rid of daylight savings.
Getting rid of
it would
daylight
just stay
savings.
at this
it's
time.
this. So
Which-
then in the summer,
But actually, I think the Washington bill. I'm really way over my skis here at this moment, but I think the bill that we voted on
Yeah.
was to get rid of. Was to keep us on daylight savings time, which I
Oh.
wouldn't mind.
Wait,
that.
there was a thing to vote on this?
Yeah, we did vote.
Yeah.
I
So-
think
Really?
it passed.
It's
and they're
illegal
just
in
not
some
doing it.
places.
Really?
Yeah, to observe.
hey, are you guys
Arizona-
practicing that?
How did I miss this vote?
Hey, what time is it there?
I'm voting on all kinds of things I don't
it
even
was
care
like
about,
4
but I
years
missed the
ago or
daylight savings
something.
time.
It was a
one.
while ago, but then it just is still. But I remember Dustin and I like reading it to each other multiple times because we were trying to figure out like, now what are we voting for?
Yeah, what are
No,
we
I
voting
like
for?
it being later.
Yeah, same.
That's my vote. So
I know. I'd rather stay on the summertime on the daylight savings. but
Oh,
again,
daylight savings time forever. That's what you want.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
that's the
People
new
have
normal.
very strong opinions about this though. When you
I will say, last
Read the
week,
comment
like
sections.
I drop off my daughter at like a little after 7:30 at school,
Mm-hmm.
and this last week before it changed, it felt like we were dropping them off in the middle of the night at this elementary school. Like all these little kids just walking in the darkness to
I
school.
know, it's not good.
It was a little rough.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, John. So officially, this is your second Sunday.
Yes.
You were at Battleground first week, which was super fun. We got
Mm-hmm.
to introduce you, and we did the muffins in the lobby and the whole party. Then this week you were with East Vancouver,
Yes.
but your official first day in the office was Wednesday.
Yes.
And how would you describe Wednesday and Thursday?
Yeah. Any regrets so far?
I mean, one word, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like interesting is one of those answers that can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I mean,
It was
yeah.
drinking. It was pretty intense. It was full steam ahead.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot for me to learn, and yeah,
Yeah.
I was just learning a lot of it on
You know,
the first day.
I mean,
so.
first weeks on the job are always, they're always a little wild. Matt Nissen has a treasure trove of job stories. I feel like Matt, when you're in conversation with Matt, he'll just randomly be like, well, this one time I worked for blah, blah, blah. And it's like, in what lifetime did that happen?
It's true. That's true. I have.
You have
worked
any
a lot
good
of,
first week on the job stories, Matt?
Oh man, first week on the job. I don't know. I worked I think the first job that I ever had, I worked at a farm, like an Angus cattle farm, and I was like 12 years old. It was one of those under the table jobs where they paid me like $2 an hour. And looking back, you're like, yeah, that's definitely child exploitative labor. Whatever.
Nice.
And, yeah, but I do remember the first week, they told me to fix this electric fence. And they were like, it'll be fine. You won't shock yourself. And I definitely shocked myself on that electric fence. And it was not a good time. I don't know if you've ever done that. It doesn't
I
feel
have
good.
not. I have avoided that, but
Yeah, it doesn't feel
I had a
good.
brother who tested out fences more than once and watched it enough to know I'm not going to try that out.
Yeah. So that was a rough first week. An electrical shock. It's not what you want.
What was your first job ever, John?
I think I worked at an Albertsons grocery store
All right.
as the cart guy, like Corey was talking about today. And yeah, I think there was like a 90-day probationary period where you get to keep the job or not based on your performance.
Of the carts?
Like on how many carts you lose.
They didn't want to hold on to me. So my second job shortly thereafter was Little Caesars Pizza.
There you go.
Right.
And were you making pizzas, delivering, or flipping signs?
I had a really long tenure as the sign flipper guy.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I could see that, John.
I was pretty good.
Did you do tricks?
I couldn't do the tricks, but what I lacked in I made up for it in enthusiasm. No tricks though. So
And
That's all you
People.
need. That's all you
Yeah.
need is enthusiasm.
yeah, yeah.
Paul,
amazing.
first job?
Technically, I was stacking chairs to turn our auditorium at our church into a gym every week, which took a couple hours actually. It was
Yeah.
a couple hundred chairs. So that would be the first one.
And they paid you for that?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's great.
It is great. And then I think working in Alaska.
Matt's asking because Matt and I also stacked chairs for like 10 years at
Yeah, I
Battleground.
stacked chairs for free.
And when we were in the high school at Battleground, it's like you knew service was over by the clanging of the chairs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what was the next one, Paul?
Working in a fish cannery in Alaska.
Oh, you did do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. In Dillingham or where?
Yeah, Dillingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
At Peter Pan?
It was called Snowpack at the
Okay.
time, but I think same facility got bought by a couple different people. So, depending on the year, it changed.
Okay. And how was that?
That was terrible.
I think that's probably the report most people. Do you know Julie Bowe did that?
I did not know that.
You're going to have to ask Julie Bowe. Julie Bowe did a summer up in Alaska at the fish cannery. I don't know if she was in Dillingham or I don't remember which city she was in.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was pretty bad. Yeah. But, good money. Good money, though.
I guess that's what we should ask, Matt. We got your electric fence shock, but what was your actual first job?
My actual first job, it was probably that. Like
Okay,
I was
was that
like
the
I was
Angus
like
beef
12
farm?
years old.
Oh, okay.
The actual
Oh, wow.
the actual first job where I I don't know, it got reported to taxes. was probably at this like family fun center thing called Magic Castle, which was like an arcade and laser tag and like one of those play structure things, and they would do like birthday parties and stuff like that.
Right.
What'd
And
you do there?
I mostly refereed laser tag games, which means you just walk around with a flashlight in the black light and just like shine a light and be like,
This
stop,
is what I'm talking
stop
about,
running.
Paul. There's
That sounds awesome.
And I did
This
that job.
sounds awesome.
I did that job for a long time because it was like the easiest job in the world. Like the first 2
it doesn't
months,
sound
it was
super challenging.
it was super busy, and then like it was just kind of a ghost town after that, and we would literally just show up and hang out, and like it was very chill. I became an assistant manager there over that.
I don't
Your
know why
flashlight skills were so good.
Why is
Yeah,
this so
yeah.
funny to me?
Those places
Oh,
are a little
man.
gross though.
Yeah, anywhere where the lights are off during
Yeah.
business hours, it's like I don't want to see this place when the lights are on.
It's
Yeah.
sticky.
Yeah, there's like one of those places that has a ball pit, and like one and like
So good.
one time we cleaned out the ball pit, and we found a diaper in there.
Oh my goodness.
Not a new diaper,
That
just a
is-
diaper that some kid lost at some point in the ball pit.
He just comes
I
out
don't
of the ball pit wearing what?
I don't know. I don't know when it happened, but that's what was in there.
That is terrible.
Yeah, it was awful.
I have no
bad.
ball pit story. My first, guys, okay, we had Little Caesars. No, what was it? Albertsons, push carts?
Yeah, yeah.
Angus Beef Farm,
Yeah.
stacking chairs. I went for a law firm for my first job.
A
I was
law
an
firm?
Ambitious,
Oh.
I'm just gonna.
What is this,
I'm
Legally
just gonna-
Blonde over here?
Yes, it is.
Just like a subtle flex.
It is. I'm going to fully flex right now. I was 15 years old, had a dream of going into law, I knew so much about law at 15. Guys, I literally
I love the law.
I love law. I love law.
law.
I went through the phone book. The old phone book, Paul. Have you ever heard of this? And
What were you doing through the phone book?
calling law firms,
Just
saying,
looking for lawyers.
guys
Oh my
calling,
gosh.
saying, "Hello, my name is Amy, and I'm interested in a career in law. I was wondering if you have any job openings." And
That's amazing.
I think I also said I'm 15. And as you can imagine, I made like 15 calls or something with a whole bunch of like, I don't think so. Like, I don't think we have a job for you. Anyway, one of these calls, I accidentally said my last name. I said, my name is Amy Hannon. This lady said, is your dad Matt Hannon? My dad was a pastor here at the time. And it was like, oh no, this isn't what I was hoping for. I really wanted to get this job on my own as an accomplished 15-year-old. And so, but because I accidentally said my last name, this very sweet woman was like, let me put you on hold, talk to our office manager. So she did. Anyway, next thing I know, a week later, I'm working at this law firm. So I said my last name. I forgot probably to say I was 15 years old at that thing. I'm sure on the application stuff I did. Well, this woman who answered the phone, part of her job was notarizing documents. So my first week on the job, she's like doing training for me. I don't have my license yet. She knows that, but I just, for some reason, she thought I was 18. So she's taking me around notarizing stuff and having me sign as a witness or whatever you do. So I'm signing all. I have no clue what we're doing
As a minor.
as a minor, as a 15-year-old. I remember one day I showed up to school like head to toe in pink because it was Spirit Day at school, and my boss was like,
Okay, I did make this Legally Blonde joke earlier, but I feel like
I was in a
now
pink,
would have been the time.
like a pink
for that.
tutu, pink face paint. She
Oh,
was like, what's going on? Why are you dressed like this? I had no clue that like I should probably go home and get
It's
changed
color
up.
day at school.
Exactly. Before they
Also,
came in.
I'm 15.
Yeah, this job, it didn't last super long because somewhere around week 2, somebody realized I was 15 and had been signing all these things. So we had to go to the courthouse and go tell the people. It was wild.
You
Anyway,
also didn't make it past the 90-day probation.
you know what? I think somehow I sweet talked my way past it, but definitely was kept in the office from then on, in the back also, not in the front desk.
I would love if you had to make a public apology in court
I know.
for impersonating a lawyer
In my pink tutu and face paint.
and notarizing a bunch of things.
Yeah, it was
That's
it was an
amazing.
interesting first job, but
Man.
you know.
And
all
it
right.
was after that you decided you didn't want a career
It was
in law.
somewhere along there that I was like, well, this is
This is way more than I bargained for.
This is
Exactly.
so boring.
exactly. It actually was so boring. It mostly was just lots and lots of filing is what I got to do and
Man.
transcribing phone calls.
It's thrilling.
And, things like that. So
Wow.
anyway, John, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like I know you guys so much better.
You do.
Yeah.
This podcast has been great. Everyone's glad they listened and got to learn about John. No, now here we go. John,
Yeah.
we're going to stop talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got questions for you, my friend.
Well, good.
We
About
really
time.
do want to get to know some of your story. Matt's got some questions.
Yeah, I've got some
to
questions
start
for you.
us off.
First of all, how tall are you? Because you are like deceptively tall, I feel like.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 What's the official height?
Somewhere between 6'4" and 6'5".
Okay.
Maybe 6'4" 3/4. It's
I-
been a while since I've
okay.
checked.
What
All
makes
right.
somebody deceptively tall?
I don't know what it is, but you don't strike me as a tall person, but then I see you standing like next to someone tall and I'm like, oh, he's tall.
I know. You and Corey, I think, are
Yeah.
the same height about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm way bigger than Corey.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Do you play basketball?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Terribly uncoordinated.
Okay.
Alexa is phenomenal at basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
Alexa.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
She's got a profile on ESPN.com. She'll hate that I said that.
Wait.
but
Wait,
it's
she
true.
actually
She
does?
actually does?
Yeah, yeah.
Googling.
Well,
For
I
what?
mean,
For
you-
what? For college basketball?
I think she was scouted in high school, and so you get on the
What?
You get on the-
How did we miss this in the interview process,
Man,
Matt?
yeah.
I don't know. You know we have a basketball court right outside there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's quite active in the summer times. So
Man, we do need to hear more about that story. So she
Yeah.
didn't end up playing in college. She was scouted. And
should I call her now?
the
No.
microphone situation's
Oh.
going to stress Paul out over here.
Yeah, it's best to.
Okay, never mind.
You know.
Yeah, just don't tell her we talked about this.
Yeah.
She'll never find out.
Yeah.
We'll do some research. And
We're
going
gonna
to
find that
the
ESPN profile.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in the show notes. Guys, I
Show
invented
notes.
show notes last week.
Show notes.
And Alexa's link is going to go in there, picture of my pink tutu, and I'll keep collecting random things to share on these show notes.
That's definitely
throughout
what we
this.
need is show notes.
Oh, man.
Okay, so you've been here. You've been here about a week so far. Mm-hmm. You're sharing an office. Who are you sharing an office with?
I'm sharing an office with Mark Hartley and JP Mumley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which of those two do you think will be the most annoying? Like on a day-to-day basis, like which one will be like, man, I just
John.
got to get some work done.
This is the point in the
And-
podcast where, remember when you thought I was hazing you earlier in the week?
Yes,
Are you-
I remember. Yeah, yeah, I do.
Okay, let's tell this story real quick. First
Yeah,
of all, we're not hazing you, but
Okay.
Matt is.
I'm not hazing you. These are serious questions.
Matt's
Okay.
full of serious questions. Hold on, Paul and I were filming if you attended campus somewhere this week, you saw the video of Matt Edmonds announcing that we've got a Battleground campus pastor, John McLeod, and so John was in a meeting that had run a little bit late, which is no big deal. We were getting set up in the studio. We had filmed somewhere else on campus earlier, so the guys were adjusting all the lights, audio. There's stuff that goes into that. And poor John, I had just said before we turned the lights off, they're like, man, it's this dark studio, quiet. Matt Edmonds is up there, like, getting sound checked and whatnot. And it feels way more sophisticated and serious than it actually is. And I had said, this is not a very not a very inviting environment for John to walk into. And I found out later that John agreed and wondered if we were hazing him. Just like, no, John, we don't want to.
Just
We
playing
would never.
ominous music in the background.
We
It's a dark
would
studio.
never.
I mean, dark room. Matt's under lights. Like
Yes.
it's quiet. It's like you could hear it. Like a pin drop. And
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's just
I know.
day
Well,
one.
Well, you did great. The
You
video
did do
turned
great.
out
You did
turned
do
out very
great.
well.
Yeah.
I think Paul has
You got
something
more
to do with
questions
that.
here?
Yeah, I got more questions. I think I don't think he answered the current question,
Oh,
Oh man, but I'm trying to help you out here, my friend.
which is you don't want to answer which
What-
of them is the most annoying. Which I mean, not that has been annoying for the last 2 days, but like looking down the road, like 6 months down the road, when you've got a bunch of stuff to do on a Tuesday afternoon, who's just bugging you?
like who would I surmise
Yeah,
is a more annoying person?
yeah.
I feel like I can't
an
walk
office
into that
mate.
one.
Okay.
You know, I can't
He's
walk
playing
into
his card,
that.
right?
That's
We
wise.
won't
Yeah.
tell them.
Wise.
Okay.
They don't have access to this.
Okay. No.
Content?
All right, we'll do a different question. What would Alexa say is one of the most annoying things that you do?
We're really on the annoying thing.
Well, we didn't answer the other one, so
She probably will not appreciate that I talked about her ESPN profile.
that's what annoys
That's
her the
kind
most.
of
So
annoying.
overshare.
Is you bringing up
John
the
overshares.
ESPN profile?
I sometimes when I can't hear her because I'm a little hard of hearing, I'll go, huh? And she really doesn't like that. She'll always point it out. If I say, huh, she'll always say, I really don't like that. But I still do it, and I'm trying.
Yeah, these are the good little spousal things.
Yeah.
That, you know.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, if you had to listen to one song for the rest of your life, just on repeat, what would it be? And let's make a clarification. Maybe not like a worship song, because you probably are feeling right now that you need to say like a worship song or something like that.
Uh-huh.
No, let's just make it a regular song. What regular song do you want just playing on a repeat for the rest of your life that you have to listen to?
Yeah. Wow.
I should have prepped you for this because that's a big question.
Well, I actually know the answer, and I have a
You
whole
know the
I have a
answer?
whole
Okay.
reason. And it's
Oh, let's
like,
get into
it's-
it.
And I could give this like elongated answer, but I feel like I'll just say
Okay.
probably. It's called "Salvation Army Beautiful" by an artist named Aaron Ross.
Okay.
I super resonate with the song.
Okay.
I'll
Is
leave it
it
at that.
new? Like, have you heard it for a long recently, or did you?
Yeah, it's like
okay.
back in post high school. It's like a
Okay.
real nostalgic kind of
Okay.
brings me somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt,
yeah.
could you answer that question?
I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah. John, I'm impressed that you had an answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's actually easy because I just like recently reconnected with it. And I was like, wow, this just makes me feel so great. So I don't know.
Like,
I mean,
I
I
just
just
listened to
You're
It's all
a
right.
music guy, right?
yeah. I don't know. I
you
guess
play music?
A little, just a little bit though.
Yeah.
Guitar.
I'm like subtly kind of a music guy.
You have led worship a little bit, right? You led worship some at the last church you were at.
Yeah. I'm like the world's okayest worship leader. You know, like yeah.
That's what people say about me.
Yeah. Well, we're in competition, my friend.
But
okay.
you have like a serious record collection and whatnot, right? Am I making this up?
I like.
Oh, do you have vinyl records?
Yeah, but
dude.
it's not as.
You guys are in
yeah.
competition.
We
They
are
actually
in
are in
Yeah,
competition.
no, I'm not that cool. I just like, I got some obscure music, like fun facts, but
Yeah.
whatever, just
Yeah.
a little bit. I'm kind of into it.
Okay, which do you think is more difficult, teaching or leading worship?
Settle a debate for Nissen here.
No,
Because people tell me it's teaching,
really, you want me to
and
answer
I
that?
agree. No, go ahead. Yes. Yeah. What do you think?
Poor John doesn't know if we're being serious or
It's
not.
like every question I answer, I make a new enemy.
No.
No.
You're not making a new enemy.
Because of the way I feel, because of my nature and what I think I'm apt to do, I think the music part is harder. It's more difficult for me to do.
Okay.
So,
That's fair.
yeah, I don't know. Music was
It depends on the person. Because
Yeah.
I would say teaching. It's
Yeah.
more difficult to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Playing music, making music was really important to me in like my early 20s. I've gravitated away from that and like my personal identity. And so, yeah, it's harder for me to do now. I'm not, I'll just like, hey, in a pinch,
Yeah.
like I could be I'm like D3,
Okay.
you know? So,
Yeah.
I feel, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we
That's
established that you could play cajon, right?
I could probably like pick up a cajon and
Okay,
like,
there we
What
go.
is that? One of those drum things?
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
box.
one of those. It's the box.
Yeah, okay,
It has
I
like
remember those.
it has like snare head like sounds in it.
All
so you can
right.
make
So when
kind
you
of
need
snare sound.
backup, you can when Matt needs backup at Battleground.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are your hobbies? What do you do for fun? Like, if you had a day off, how would you spend that day? And weren't just hanging out with kids because
Yeah, that's
'Cause
what I
we do
do.
know that is what actually happens on a day off.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
I don't know. I do have a bunch of music stuff, and I'm not, I've had those friends that, like, prolific songwriter, awesome. That's not me, but yeah, I've got my stuff. I got some pedals. I got some cool gear, and I like to, dink around, but
Yeah.
I don't do that a lot, honestly. So yeah, I guess if I had uninhibited time, like, yeah, I just sit around for a while,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Do you
got
take
this-
photos too? Did I hear that?
Oh, a little bit.
A little
I got
bit?
this cool, weird niche camera that I like to drag around. But
What
again,
is it?
like,
What is it? Paul, do you know Paul's into photography?
No,
Oh, yeah.
me and John have talked about
Okay.
this already. I don't
Okay.
know what segment of the audience really wants us to start nerding out
Yeah,
over
let's-
this stuff.
yeah,
We'll
Yeah.
save it for another time.
We'll put it in the
Yeah.
show notes.
We'll put it's in
Yeah.
the show notes.
yeah.
All right, that's fair enough. What about like the Portland area, moving down here? What's something you're looking forward to about living?
Yeah, because where you lived before was not very populated. Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to about being in the Portland metro area? Because this is
Yeah.
the metro area of Portland.
Yeah. Well, so many things. It was interesting to, as a family, we made this decision that we want to pursue coming out here, and we feel really strong that this is what the Lord's got for us, for our family. And it represented a big shift for me because I have lived on, like, the Puget Sound my whole life except for a year in college. So that was like a little bit of, I don't want to say an emotional decision, but it's like, wow, it's a step, it's a new chapter. So I think I am looking forward to a new place, like explore a new place. There's all sorts of cool stuff around us. So yeah, I don't know. Get outside, do some Columbia River stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, growing up in Puget Sound, like how big was water a part of your life?
I mean, we weren't like I was about to say we weren't like a big maritime family. I was every weekend out on our little aluminum fishing boat, maxing out our catch though. So we did do a lot of fishing
That's
when
a
I was
big maritime family.
That's a big
yeah,
maritime family.
yeah, I don't know.
What were you catching?
So my stepdad was a big salmon fisherman, and we do a lot of crabbing too. And I haven't really held on to that. I have not reconnected with that part of me yet.
All right,
I don't
well,
know.
it's coming. Maybe
So you
here.
need a
Yeah.
boat.
I need a boat.
You gotta get a boat.
So if anybody, yeah.
There's extra boats laying around out here.
You have
Yeah.
those? Okay.
Yeah, Dustin was just getting rid of a boat,
Yeah, Dustin-
actually, but it's
Dustin-
gone. It's gone now.
Dustin has some wild boat stories from the summer. He's
Oh.
he's boat shopping. This is my husband.
Okay.
He's boat shopping, and he comes across this boat that seems like it's listed for like less than it should be. And I don't really know why or how he did this, but he did some research and realized it was stolen from the University of Oregon like 7 years
Oh.
prior. I don't think he knew that part. It was registered to University of Oregon. That's what he found out.
Okay.
So he called them to say like, hey, I found your boat. Do you guys know about this? And they're like, no, it was stolen 7 years ago. So that's the end of story. He hangs up. Well, then they called him later and they were like, hey, they called maybe a month later and we're like, we got that. We recovered the boat and we don't need it anymore. So we'll give it to you for the tow fee. So he ended up with this.
Wow.
I know.
You guys have a boat now.
Well, so in between that month, he had bought another boat because he didn't think that he was that.
You guys
Okay.
have two boats?
You know why?
We
Because
did.
they're a big maritime family.
Yeah.
You guys have got two boats.
So you're looking to repurpose a boat, is
So
what I'm
listen,
hearing.
We did.
Yeah,
We only have one boat now, but
Okay.
we'll be happy to share with you anytime.
Okay, well,
And
I'm
it's
looking
exactly what
forward
you're
to
talking
that.
about. A little aluminum boat that was
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
for a high school kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
sound. Okay, so you grew up in Oak Harbor,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
what's life like in Oak Harbor?
Yeah, so my hometown's really interesting. It is part of, like in the North Puget Sound, the San Juan Islands are really pretty. Like people love to go there
Yeah.
to travel there and visit and do vacation. When you're like a kid from a small town, though, you're not like enamored with, the like local sites and experiences. I think I was anxious to leave. As an adult, though, I'm like, actually, I don't know. In an alternate universe, like
It's
I could
beautiful.
happily be there,
Yeah,
Yeah. And I always kind of gravitated close to home. I mean, within a 45-minute drive. So I never actually really, got too far away. But yeah. What was life like? Is that
Yeah. Like, is it small enough? Like, are you going to school in Oak Harbor? Or are you traveling to another town to go to school?
Yeah. So like the demographics are pretty interesting. There's a Navy base in Oak Harbor.
Okay.
And like North Sound, away from the freeway, like the San Juans, are pretty, as a general rule, low population, not a ton of population density. Oak Harbor, because of the Navy base, feels like, even though it's in a pretty rural, remote part of the state, it feels pretty suburban. There's some big box stores and it is the largest town on the island. But so it actually has the least, small town and like the North Puget Sound, like, oh, it's going to be really quaint. It's going to be really like, I don't know. Our town was less like that.
Okay.
It was the least like that. It was the highest, most populated, and least, cute little cottage town. I actually do love where I'm from, but it was the least like, people don't vacation there. They vacation on the other half of the island. So, but great place to grow up. I don't know. Yeah.
And so, what was? I've heard some of that story, but it'd just be fun to share it with the church. Is your faith story, like growing up? What was your? How did you encounter Jesus?
Yeah, I became a Christian in high school, and I didn't have. I wasn't part of a religious household growing up. I've talked to my mom a fair bit about this, and at the time she would say, hey, I want you guys to make your own decisions. Which in a lot of ways I appreciate that that she did that. And so so many things, so many like details, I suppose, but like junior year of high school, 17 years old, I made some friends in church. I made some friends at school, and they were church people. So, it helped to have friends go into youth group, and I just kind of gravitated in. There was one person in particular I was very interested in spending time around, and that helped me get into church.
You followed a girl to church.
I followed a girl to church.
This is a tale as old as time.
Yeah, read between the lines.
We know this story.
Yeah. And so probably like for the first time ever, my parents got married in a church, but going to youth group and then like accepting an invitation to go to Sunday morning service, that was like the first time I'd really been to a church. So I was definitely one of those kids, probably like, I don't know, everyone's really excited a kid like that starts going to the youth group or whatever. I was really that kid, I think. And I took a good few months to really process, what I didn't know if I was buying it. It took me a while to come around. But I like immediately entered a community of faith that was just really warm and really, I did not feel unwelcome, even though, it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious that I wasn't a Christian kid. I was really coming from a different lifestyle and perspective, and I don't know. I had some behavioral stuff. I had some like family trauma stuff that, I don't know. I was like I was a kid who was acting out, and that was never an issue in my home church. And eventually that won me over, So, and there's so many like things, but that's I think a good way to say.
Yeah. That's where you came to faith, was at that church in Oak Harbor.
Yeah. And I mean, I could tell you like, I actually don't know the date. I don't know, it was like the middle of July. Like I could get on a calendar probably, and I could go, I know it was a Wednesday, and it was in the middle of the month, and because it was like a Wednesday night worship night. I remember the song. And I remember the part of the song, and I don't think I'm going to go.
Song?
Well, I don't think I'm going to go there.
Oh man.
I mean, unless you want me to go there, but I remember, like, I don't know.
You don't have to.
I could like make it sound funny, but like truly, and even like people connecting to God and being led to like into His presence through music. That really happened to me. After all this like 4 months of going to church, hanging out with good people, striking up a really good relationship with the youth pastor, getting really great teaching and a lot of exposure to who Jesus is. And then it's like, no, it was like the worship leader Wednesday night who like bagged me, like, which sounds so dumb. I'm being silly, but like, and no, I truly do remember the song, and I like laugh because it's silly, but like, It was The Stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like the...
What's the I don't remember. That's not like, I know the name, but I can't think of the
It's
lyrics.
I'll stand with arms high,
and
heart
heart
abandoned.
abandoned. Oh yeah, in awe of the one who. Yep. Yeah, that's a
Yep.
good
but
one.
it
That's a great
was
song.
the pre-chorus.
Yeah. What can I
is-
say?
What can I say?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
John's getting
What-
caught up
what
on these
can I
chords.
do?
Yeah.
Like I could
Yeah.
really, as like
Yeah.
that kid, at that stage of my life, I could identify with like the lyrics of the song.
Yeah,
You know.
Yep.
that's powerful.
So like truly, like
Yeah.
I don't talk about that much, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was like the moment for me
Yeah.
where I kind of, I don't know.
No, I totally get it. It's like being in powerful worship environments was what made a huge impact to me too. So I
Yeah.
like.
No,
I definitely-
that's part of my
definitely
story too.
understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If I would say where I kind of own my faith, it was in
Yeah.
in a worship session at camp, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool, John.
Yeah.
And so then you talked a little bit about that church, and
Mm-hmm.
because that is, am I right in saying that that's where you started being interested in ministry?
Yeah, definitely.
Because
So,
you're coming
yeah.
to faith at like 16?
17.
Okay,
yeah.
17.
Yeah. Yeah, I did become interested in pursuing ministry probably within the first year and a half of becoming a Christian. And I think, like, I don't know if it wasn't necessarily like a mystical experience, more, I don't know. I'm trying to put my finger on how noble were my motives in saying I wanted to do this. It was, when you're 17, 18, they're like really drilling you at school. What do you want to do? You got to do your college prep and all that stuff.
Right.
Or at least it was for me when
Yeah.
I was, in high school. So you're like forced to ask the questions like, what do I want to pursue vocationally? And I just didn't really have a great answer to that question. And so as I became really invested in and very interested in church, I was, whatever, 4 nights a week, plus Sundays, being at church, soaking up as much as you can. Yeah, that was me. I was coming from not a place where there wasn't a lot of hope into this, amazing atmosphere of hope. And so as my heart was for the church and, gosh, I'm so glad I found this with my life, I think it was, more natural. Yeah, I think I could see myself involved in something like this. So I don't know how much it was really I just got to have a career plan. I was wrestling with that simultaneously. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I got so much out of my experience at my home church that, yeah, it made me want to. I started to ask the questions: what can I do to pursue something like that? So.
And was that church, were they lay pastors or were they... you've talked about a couple guys in your life that
Yes.
that invested in you. Were they the pastors of the church or they were youth leaders?
Yeah, so staff would be it was solo pastor church, and yeah, mostly lay led and all the other ministry arenas. So our youth pastor, worship leaders, it was a modest sized church, and so yeah, I got a lot out of relationships with people who weren't working vocationally in the church, because this was a church that was really strong and people were really strong. Yeah.
And so then you end up pursuing Bible college,
Yes.
and that's where you meet Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
And Alexa,
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Alexa,
Yeah.
was also pursuing a degree in Bible.
Yeah, we were in the same program. Really, it's like a small school that offers really one program. Everyone's sort of enrolled in the same
Okay.
thing. And yeah.
Okay.
She has a whole story of how she got there and decided to do that. But yeah.
We'll have her on the podcast for the ESPN version.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. She'll
Okay,
like that.
So you guys meet there, and that's where church planning starts to enter the picture for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think I remember the moment that in church I felt compelled to get involved in church work. I really remember daydreaming in the middle of the sermon. I've been a Christian for a year and a half, and you can already get away with it. You think you're a hotshot or something. Yeah, I know about this thing that he's talking about, so I'll take this 5 minutes to whatever we weren't checking our phones. Like, we didn't have phones then, you know, at that point. But, you know, you're just kind of like looking at the ceiling or whatever. And I just remember having a passing thought that was, I would love to do what my pastor does, and I would love to do it in Anacortes, Washington, which is the town we did church plant in. And that, like, thought didn't materialize into anything for 7 or 8 years. But it did represent the beginning of me going, yeah, I think I do want to pursue, like, what are my options for pursuing some ministry training? I was in a Calvary Chapel church. That is where I became a Christian. And so that was sort of the pathway for folks in Calvary churches. So it was just sort of the logical next step. I had a lot of people in my life that I looked up to, my youth pastor and his wife in particular. They had a similar story. That's where they went for schooling. That's where they met. And, caught the passion for wanting to serve the church. So, yeah.
Okay. So you are in school in California, you and Alexa, Southern California. Mm-hmm. And then you decide God opens the door for you to head towards Anacortes and plant a church. Am I getting the timing right there?
There's a few, like, interim things that happen there. I moved back home separate from that pursuit.
Okay.
In between that time, I got connected with a church in our area, in the North Seattle area, and I had an opportunity to do an internship there and continue some schooling with, like, the Calvary program. They had an extension campus. So I made some connections there, lived out there for, 3 or 4 years, and that is where I and some other folks who we ended up going and doing this church plant together, that is where we got some training and formalized that process a little bit more. And I did kind of know just through, church connections, like, oh, here's a church and here's some people in this church who, they do a lot of that. They do a lot of the church planning. And so I wanted to go nurture those relationships and pursue that. Mm-hmm. So. And then Anacortes. Yeah, and then so.
And then, because then you and Alexa get married, and then you launch the church.
Yeah. Yeah, we got married in May, and then we had our first Sunday service in August. So it was just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Which is something you guys have in common, the church planning.
Yes. Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit.
At 25.
At age 25, we both were involved in church plants.
Yeah, I mean, Matt and April moved out.
Yeah, we moved
across the country.
Yeah, we moved out to the Pacific Northwest to help out with the church plant.
Yeah, and it's not for the faint of the heart.
It's not for the faint of heart.
I've never been a part of a church plant I've watched them launch but it's a all-in endeavor.
Yes, very much is.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure we both learned a lot from those processes.
Yeah, there was something, John, really refreshing in. I remember the first interview setting that I met you in. Mm-hmm. Matt Nissen and I got to have lunch with you and Alexa and the Battleground team, and hearing you talk about church planning and just kind of the highs and lows of that and your heart for it and what God. There was something really familiar to me and just refreshing in your story of like. It resonates with stories of others here at New Heights, like Matt's and some others where, doing, ministry is no different than any other vocation as far as like it's got highs and lows, and I think the honesty with which you and Alexa kind of reflected on it and celebrated what God did, but also just recognize how God shaped you guys during that time. That was fun for me to hear. I know for Matt as well.
For sure. Yeah. It definitely was.
Yeah. So from there, you've been pastoring in the Puget Sound for how many years have you been up there pastoring?
So the period of time, let's say we moved to Anacortes in 2016.
Okay.
With the intent to form a congregation and start a church. We lived there for a year, so in 2017 is when we had our first service.
Yeah.
And there's preparatory stuff that goes before that. So let's say August of 2017 is when we launched this church, and I was formally doing some pastoral work. I was in training with the church I mentioned before for my 23, 24. So the couple years before, I was just receiving training. I was volunteering a lot, but no title.
Like a lot of church planters, you were also working full-time outside, right? And Matt, I think that's some of your story too.
Yeah. I worked at Starbucks.
Yes.
When I was church planting, and also when I started at New Heights, I worked at Starbucks.
Well, it honestly is kind of the crazy thing about, actually, John, I'm just going to tell you, I almost brought it up earlier. So Mark Forstrom, who was former campus pastor at Battleground, who I know you've connected with, and one of the first thoughts I had when I met you was like, man, these two, you guys are going to love each other. But he pushed carts at Albertsons. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, actually, Safeway, I think.
Oh, Safeway. Sorry,
Might have
Mark.
been Safeway.
Sorry,
Same thing.
Mark.
Well,
Okay. Well,
they are owned by the same conglomerate,
Okay.
now, I
There
think.
you
So
go.
we're,
All right, well, maybe
we're
this is
anyway,
the same
when
thing.
you
are
were
the
saying
same.
that was making me laugh. I'm like, oh, Mark is going to love this little
Aw.
detail. But I think that's a piece of church planning that like a lot of people can gloss right over, is depending on the support from your sending church. A lot of church planners are still working some other kind of job during the daytime to make ends meet. And so what were you doing?
Yeah, like, let's see. Okay. I had a time at Starbucks too.
Yeah.
And I had a plan. You know, they started to do this like great thing. They pay for you to go to school.
Yeah.
I was thinking about pursuing that. It didn't really turn into anything. Did some odd jobs in Anacortes. Like as a single guy, another single guy we moved there together. Great friend of mine. And yeah, we just like did whatever. We were like staying in someone's garage apartment for free for a while. Like, I don't know. Maybe
Just
we had
making it work.
maybe we had like $300 to our name combined. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't tell you honestly.
Yeah.
It was just that was who we were. That was how it was. We both started working around the same time for a really amazing, cool story. My friend had a good family friend who owns a number. I don't want to say a chain. He's in the music retail business. They have music stores around like the Seattle area. So he opened a store up north in Anacortes. We worked for him, and that was a great job. We loved that, and it was so cool. I mean, it was this old 120-year-old Baptist church that was like becoming decrepit, and he repurposed it into this like beautiful. It had an event hall. That was like for most of the lifespan of our church, we were there. Like we were running this awesome space.
That's where your church met.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like we worked there during the week.
Okay.
And we had church in the music hall during
that's
on the
cool.
weekend.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Like it had major mojo.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I'll show you guys pictures sometimes. It was just when you do that, when you start like really small and kind of unstructured, there's so many strategies and ways to go about like formulating a new congregation. When you do it that way, like okay, go find a place to rent. We like really like home run. It was a nice.
You were in Battleground High School, is what you were saying.
It was.
It was. We haven't taken you to Battleground High School yet.
Hey, let's not knock Battleground High School
Okay,
mojo.
go
Yeah.
Tigers.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
There's a lot of tigers on the wall of
Listen,
Battleground
I'm
High
sure
School.
the high school's awesome, but the cafeteria got a little stale after a while. We met there for 10 years before we got the building. So
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. I sort of went my own way with that question, which was like work-wise, what were you doing? So that was part of our story. At a certain point, I tried to pursue other things to supplement. Maybe within the first year of doing church planning, I was able to go part-time through the church.
Part-time support.
Support. And so rather than work the job I was doing, I tried to go out on my own into like being a freelance graphic artist. I never amounted to anything in that industry. I ended up doing like marine graphics for boats.
Which I think is so cool.
Yeah, and actually I really liked that.
Yeah.
Like I was doing like boats and heavy machinery and other, just like, I don't know, like you find work finds you,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like super slick websites for like Silicon Valley tech startups or something. I was like, I'm going to do no, it's like that never happened for me.
You do need a boat, though. You can
I do
design,
need,
you can
yeah,
design the
I
whole
mean,
thing.
yeah. So yeah, I went kind of out on my own, trying to start a small business, and between those two, we survived. We did all right. We did fine. At a later point in like the lifespan of our church plant, we attempted a merge with another congregation. The resources of those two combined, I was full-time supported, and we only pursued that for about maybe 8 months before. Eventually, that is when we stepped out of pursuing church planning. So yeah.
Well,
work was interesting.
I'm sure that COVID was not a great time for church
Yeah.
plants and small
Yeah.
churches.
Yeah.
That was the
That's-
beginning of some
yeah.
of our troubles.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so.
the case for a lot of churches in this area too.
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
So how did you get to Western Seminary? What was the like pathway towards that? I'm going to go pursue this this master's, and that's because that's where you met Mark Hartley, Justin
Yes.
Laskowski. Yeah.
Yes. I was interested in like pursuing, doing some more schooling, going to a seminary. I first started investigating options probably in 2019. I had a really good friend, college roommate, years and years we've been friends. He, at the time, was in Vancouver, BC at Regent, and I was really interested in going to Regent. I was like pretty enamored with some faculty and thought it would be a really cool experience. 2020, like border stuff shuts down, life gets interesting and different. So that, and it would be like, I don't know, there was a pastor in our area who did some schooling, living in Anacortes, driving the hour 45, 3 days a week to Vancouver, BC to get a degree. And I was like, I don't think it would be super sustainable. So it was a friend at a church in Mount Lake Terrace, Washington, who was in this program. And he told me about it. And so it was really word of mouth. I didn't even know. I knew the school existed, but my friend had just started, said he was really getting a lot out of it. And I felt like the door was sort of closed for me to pursue like my first pick for a school. And on kind of just the word of my friend saying that this program has been really good for him, I signed up. So,
Cool. And so you're 2 years in.
Yes.
And how long's the program?
It's a 3-year program.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And it's intense. I've heard you say it's like, because you guys, it's like an intensive Friday. The way the schedule works out, it's every 5th Friday or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like hoping that no one from Western Seminary like listens to
Western Seminary. Hello, Western
Yeah,
Seminary.
I'm like I might not be doing justice to the nature of the program. So it's like their cohort program, and I think that what they try to accomplish with this program is, hey, if you're a full-time worker, you're working in the church, how are you going to pursue this? Unless we do something really flexible. So we'll do like a 8 to 5. 1 Friday a month, every 5-6 weeks. And so, we would just drive up. We'd load like everybody in the car and our dog, who gets very car
And when you're
sick.
saying you load everybody up, it's you, Alexa.
Alexa, our
Ellis, the
two
3-year-old,
kids.
Corey, the 1-year-old.
Yeah,
and the
we
dog. What's
and
the
the
dog's
dog.
name?
Charlie.
Car sick Charlie.
Yeah. He's he doesn't do great in the car. But it's not fun.
Yeah.
We have a whole a system. So we've experimented with buckets, we've experimented with towel.
my
I don't want to get into it.
goodness.
I really don't want to
gosh.
get into
Not good,
it.
yeah.
Honestly, he's
Sounds
great.
like a good time for
I'm
a road
glad
trip.
Charlie's
Yeah.
here and doesn't have to do this trip anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, it made a lot of sense for us because Alexa does have some family in the area. She has family in Hood River, kind of the Portland suburbs, Tigard, Tualatin. She has some family. So we were like, if we go down, if you're doing school there, we can kind of make a family trip out of it at the same time. So we had, it fit really well. I think I had ambitions for other school stuff. Didn't really materialize. Wasn't a good idea. And what Western offered was like great, and I'm really glad I did it. Although I don't know, you mentioned I've said it's a challenge or intense. For me, yes.
I'll say Mark Hartley has also. I can't say that I've actually heard Justin's take. I'll say Mark feels like there's a lot of reading. You guys are doing a lot of reading and writing, and
I thought I was pretty slick going in, and now I'm feeling like, this is pretty hard. Like I don't know. I don't think I'll ever go back to school. Yeah, no, honestly,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I could do this, and
Yeah.
it's. I think I can. I think I will finish, but I'm like,
it's a lot.
yeah, you're getting what you pay for,
Yeah.
and it is great. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow, it has been a lot for me. I'm challenged by it, which I think is good.
Yeah.
So
And the program it's interesting. Tell us the program. There's 2 parts to it, right? Or 3 years. Each year has a focus?
Yeah. So what they do, I'm just gonna full out try and I'm gonna do the whole spiel.
Okay, give it to us.
For Western Seminary's cohort program, which is.
Oh, you're gonna sell us on it?
Yeah,
Matt and I are gonna go
Amy
be the
wants to do
cohort
it.
next time.
As far as I know, the cohort model and the offerings from Western Seminary are a raving success.
Okay.
And they grow by word of mouth, growing like wildfire. And I'm gonna try to encourage people now to sign up. Okay.
So listen in, everybody.
I've heard you get a 10% discount if you get people to sign up.
Well, I'm trying to get a free ride.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a free ride. It's 3 years.
Yep.
The way they structured the program is really cool. They give it's kind of made for the whole heart of the program is we want to give a seminary education to pastors who have not done that, and make it accessible and
like you
accommodate
said, while you're
them.
already in church.
While you're working.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And so that's why they hold classes as frequently as they do. It's kind of why they offer it in that model. So it's 1 year of Bible, so Genesis to Revelation, 1 year of theology, finer details, and then the third year that we're entering in now is leadership focused training. So yeah.
That's
and
cool.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's stretching, but really great. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I was sold until you said there was all that reading and writing.
Yeah, you do have to do some of that. So there is
It
some
goes
of
along
that.
with the whole school thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, John, it's super, super good to have you here. I really am excited for the people of Battleground and New Heights, larger congregation, to get to know you. I know Matt and I both, just as we got to know you during the interview process, obviously there's you have experience that you bring to Battleground. You have a love for God's church, all of that. But there's just something about you and Alexa that, as we got to know you guys, just felt like, man, this is going to be a good fit. These are people we want to get to know. These people we want to spend time with. These people we want, our friends and family at church to be shepherded by. So,
thanks.
Yeah, and you guys have been out there. We did a leaders meeting on Wednesday last week, and you were out there this last weekend. It just felt really good.
Yeah.
It felt like everyone was really excited that you're there, and hopefully you felt that too, and really enjoyed connecting with people. But
I was truly impressed, John, because Sunday morning, so we did this leader meeting with Battleground leaders Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is today. So this is October something.
this is Sunday.
No, the leader meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I know today's Sunday. I mean November, date, November 5th, I think it is. So there was a Wednesday night, we did a leader meeting, 150 leaders-ish, something like that.
Yes.
And John and Alexa are just shaking hands left and right, learning all sorts of names. And on Sunday, John and I are standing in the lobby, people are walking in, and John's greeting people saying, "Good to see you again." And I'm like, what in the world? He is correct. Those people were there Wednesday night, and he's remembering them already. So
Yeah, good job.
I was impressed.
Thanks, guys.
You're tracking.
I'm really
You're tracking.
trying. I am really trying.
We'll start wearing name tags. We'll make everybody
Yeah.
wear name tags out
Yeah.
there for a bit.
Hey.
Cool. Well, next time we have you on here, we're going to drill you on Battleground trivia.
Great.
And speaking of, do you know the name of the battle? Do you know why Battleground is named Battleground?
No, I don't. I assume there's a battle.
You're correct.
Okay.
There's no battle.
Oh, wait. No,
There's
you're
no
not
battle.
correct.
battle.
No battle.
Matt
Oh.
Nissen, do you know the story here?
I don't actually. I mean,
Oh,
I
man.
sort of know it. There was supposed to be a battle.
There was supposed to be a
Okay.
battle
And
then there
between
wasn't a
Chief
battle.
Umtuck and Captain Strong.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Which were the
these
schools.
are the schools. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Matt just learned a new fact about Battleground schools.
No, I knew that. Now that you mentioned it,
You
I'm
made that up,
reminded.
didn't you?
No, it's on a plaque in town.
Okay.
Listen, we'll take you there.
Okay.
We'll go there. We'll
Yep.
go have lunch at the Northwood.
Yep.
Matt and I are big fans of their
Yep.
meatloaf.
Cool.
Yeah, there was a battle all
Love
ready
that.
to go, and then they were like, "No, we're not going to do it. No battle.
Yep.
Let's just build schools instead."
It
That's
should
what
be
they
called
said.
No Battleground.
Yeah,
No
no
battleground.
battleground.
Yeah. Huh. Good idea, Paul.
A little bit of history. A little bit of history lesson for you.
That's good.
Oh man. Well, on that note, you won't be back. I wanted to say you'll be back at Battleground next weekend, but you will not. Next weekend, where are you going? Do you know?
I actually don't know that yet, and I think I'm supposed to. But I do have at least 3 more weeks of what I'm affectionately calling on-the-job training.
I love it.
And that is
Yeah.
what I'm getting. And
Yeah.
it was actually really nice this morning.
A little shadowing.
Being with JP this morning at East and, seeing how, I think it's a great idea. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. it's like a little bit of a slow start for me, and I'm appreciating that.
Yeah.
Getting some time to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
But to answer your question, I have no idea where
Okay,
I'm
well,
going next
I'm
Sunday.
guessing West Vancouver or East
Okay.
Vancouver. I mean, Central
That's-
Vancouver or West
Yeah,
Vancouver.
I would think one of those two.
One of those two. So, folks, he's coming your way. And we had
Yes.
Corey this weekend with Parables. Next weekend is somebody else with Parables. Who, Paul?
I
I
don't
think it's JP.
Yeah, it's JP. I think.
JP.
It is JP.
And then
Yep.
Justin after that.
I do know
And
that.
I'll be back
Yep.
here on Beyond the Weekend.
All right.
Guest TBD. TBA. I think it's been TBD'd. I think I know. I think
It's
it's been
been-
determined.
it's been TBD'd?
Just hasn't been announced.
Just not TBA'd.
Oh.
TBA'd.
There you
So I probably should tell them before I tell you.
Okay.
So we'll see you next week.